Hi everyone, welcome to one more video in our series of UPSC Prelims strategy. Today we are going to discuss something very important. This is regarding UPSC Prelims tips and tricks. Okay, so tips and tricks. We'll discuss basically. You must have observed that every year a lot of questions can be solved just on the basis of logic, and after exam is over your friends will come and then they'll boast how they solved this particular question, that particular question, just on the basis of logic, although they didn't know anything about it. So that happens a lot. And then also, like, we get a feeling that where did I went wrong, like despite studying everything, if they're going to ask questions like this, what can I do? Okay, what somebody like me can do. So after exam, see, we get that feeling. So that's what I thought, we'll have a video where we'll discuss which kind of questions can actually be solved without much preparation, just on the basis of logic. And you will get in an actual exam, you'll get 5 to 10 questions where you'll be able to solve them without actually referring, going back to your books like that. So in today's video, we'll discuss all these different kind of questions in a systematic manner, so that when you come across this kind of questions, you have a better idea, okay, how to approach them. And hopefully after exam is over, you'll also be able to claim that these 5 10 questions you could solve although you didn't know anything about it. Okay, so let's get started. I've divided these kind of questions which can be solved just on the basis of logic into 10 categories. So these 10 categories represent 10 kinds of logic you can apply to solve these questions. Okay, so we'll discuss them one by one. So these 10 categories I have made, we'll cover them one by one. We'll also discuss examples with them, so that it becomes very clear what I'm saying. Okay, it may become a little long video, but stay with me because this is going to add a lot of value to your preparation. It is going to basically fetch you 5 10 extra marks, which can make a big difference in your CA prelim score. Okay, so let's get started. You must be aware we have a website, Education Province, where we have listed all the prelims PIQs from 1995. Do visit the website if you have not seen it. Okay. Educationprovince.com. So we'll start with first category, uh, extreme statements. Okay, so these are the questions where, see, one more thing, one clarification I want to give. We're not going to discuss how to, like, we will be discussing how to judge the statements. Okay, because to arrive at an answer, you'll need to judge not just one statement, but 3 4 statements, the number of statements they have given. Okay, now not all statements fit this criteria. Like, let's say they have in a question, let's say there are 3 statements, only one statement you may be able to eliminate on the basis of logic. Other 2 statements, it may happen that they'll demand that you have to know something, just logic will not work. So that is very much possible. But if you're able to eliminate at least one option because of one statement, okay, for example, if there is a question, there are 3 statements, we'll discuss with examples. Okay, so let's get started. First category is extreme kind of statements. Okay, now I have examples for you. We have one example from history, and I think one from economy and polity. Okay, so in 2022, that asked one question. Okay, uh, from environment. Okay, third question in 2022. So this is question. Okay, consider the following statement. Now in this question, if you observe, there are 3 statements. Okay, and they're asking which of the statements given above are correct. The first statement, it says, other than those made by humans, nanoparticles do not exist in nature. Now this is highly, like, it doesn't make sense, right? Nanoparticles do not exist. See, atoms and molecules exist in nature. Why nanoparticles should not exist? Okay. Now this statement is an extreme statement. So because it's an extreme statement, okay, just on the basis of logic, okay, you may not know a lot of details about nanoparticles. Okay, But just on the basis of logic, you can say that yes, they do not exist in nature. Okay, so this is extreme statement, you can discard. Okay, and if you see the answer, yes, the first statement is not true. Okay, so this is one case where you are able to discard the statement because it's an extreme statement. Okay, now we'll discuss one more we'll not discuss one more example, we'll go to second category. Okay, so first category is cover. Second category, generic statements. Okay, now again I'll give one more example, the same question. Okay, the third statement, if you observe, nanoparticles of some commercial product which enter the environment are unsafe for humans. Now if you observe this word some, okay, it's a very generic statement. It doesn't say, it's not specific. Okay, they're saying some commercial products which enter the environment are unsafe. Now again, because it's a very generic statement, most likely it will be true. Okay, we'll discuss more examples like this of generic and extreme statements. But so this is the category, like this is the criteria. If it's a generic statement, most likely it's going to be true because it's not taking any side. It's very generic. It's not what I'll say. It's not specific. Okay, because either to be wrong, you have to be specific, like that. Okay, that's why many people choose not to take any side. Right? They'll speak very vaguely because then you cannot prove them wrong. It's like that. Okay, so generic statements it's a second category. We'll discuss one, two more examples in environment only. Last year's 2023. Okay. This third question, for example, all of you like you'll remember this question from last year. Um, Third one, okay, some mushrooms are like this. Now, if you observe, all these statements again are very generic. Some mushrooms have medicinal properties, some mushrooms have psychoactive properties, some mushrooms have insecticidal properties, some mushrooms have bioluminescent properties. These are all very generic statements, so most likely they all will be true. Okay, because they're not specifying anything, and anything is possible basically in this world, especially in humanities, in biologies, where the things are not like thoroughly researched. A lot of other things are also possible. Okay, so if you see, yeah, all four statements are true. Okay, because all four were of generic kind, we could say that all four could be true. Okay, let's discuss one more example from generic category. Last year only. Okay, this thing, second statement again. Okay, now the first statement, if you observe, carbon markets are likely to be one of the most widespread tools in the fight against climate change. Again, it says likely to be. It's again generic. It's not taking any side. It's not specific. Likely to be. It doesn't say that carbon markets will be. Okay, it says likely to be. So again, most likely this statement will be true. Okay, and if you see the second statement, let's say we don't know. Okay, but if the first statement is correct, if you see the answer, statement one is correct, but two is incorrect. Okay, statement one is correct, like that. So like what we thought that because it's a generic statement, it will be true. It actually came out to be true. That it's a generic statement and it is true. Okay. So this is second example. We'll take one more example from extreme statement category. Okay, this is from economy, 2019 question. Okay. The first statement, if you observe, okay, all of the second statement, I'm sorry, it says all of India's external debt is denominated in US dollar. It's again extreme statement. All of India's debt. Okay, now even if 1 rupee is not denominated in US dollar, the statement will be false. Right? The likelihood of statement being false is very high. Therefore, we'll go with the logic that the statement is false. Okay. Yeah, the second statement was false. Okay, we didn't discuss the first statement because it's kind of knowledge based category, which we are not discussing. We are only discussing logical category over here. The questions, the statements which can be discarded or accepted on the basis of logic alone. Okay, so this was extreme statement and it came out to be false. Okay, so we have done these two categories, generic and extreme statements. Okay, now we'll go for third category where the statement will be in pairs. Like basically, what will happen is two statements which they themselves have given, they themselves will contradict each other, and that's a very good thing for us because then we'll know both cannot be correct. Okay, this is very interesting category. This is little rare, but if it's there, you should make use of it. Okay, I'll give you one example again from PYQ. Okay, this is from history. Okay, 2014. Yeah, art and craft. 2014, the first statement. With reference to famous Satriya dance, consider the following statements. Now, if you observe the second and third statement, okay, observe very carefully. The second statement says it is a centuries old living tradition of Vaishnavites of Assam. Okay, it says centuries old and in Assam. Second statement it says it's based on classical ragas and talas of devotional songs composed by Tulsidas, Kabir, and Mirabai. Now, if the third statement were to be correct, that the Satriya dance is based on ragas and songs composed by Tulsidas, Kabir, and Mirabai, it's not possible or it's like highly unlikely that this system is there in Assam because geographically these are like very different areas. Okay, Tulsidas, Kabir, Mirabai, and Assam because Assam, if you know, for most part of history, it was kind of an isolated region. Okay, it is there like up in the hills and all like that. So it was kind of an isolated region for good amount of history. So it's highly unlikely that Tulsidas, Kabir, and again these three saints, they're not the preachers. Okay, they're like practitioners of like bhakti, right? They're not missionaries, if you say like that. So these two and three statements cannot go together. If third is true, second cannot be true. If second is true, third cannot be true. Like that. So this kind of questions are little rare, but if it happens, if this kind of statement comes, you should make use of it. Now we know because two and three cannot go together, we'll discard options C and D. Okay, and if you see the actual answer, yeah, it's B. Okay, 1 and 2, like that. So this is third way you can apply the logic and eliminate the statement. Okay, the third pairs. Okay, now the fourth category is reverse logic. I'll explain through example. Okay, reverse logic. This is from 2020. I think the question is from modern history. Okay. Yeah, the second one. Okay, with reference to history of India, Ulgulan or Great Tumult is the description of which of the following events? Okay, let's assume you don't know and you want to answer this question on the basis of logic. So now, if you see the first option, it says revolt of 1857. Okay, now we have read about 1857 revolt since our like school days. Okay, it's not first time you're reading it for UPSC. We have read it in our like 9th 10th whenever we had history, maybe before that again for graduate, like for UPSC we have read it multiple times from multiple sources. Now nowhere you have heard this word Ulgulan. Okay, or at least I don't remember hearing it, especially in connection with 1857 revolt. Okay, so this is category of question where you have studied one subject very nicely, very thoroughly, and then there is a statement about that subject and you're not familiar with it. Okay, then most likely the statement will be false because if it were true, you would have heard it at least once. Okay, especially because you have studied it nicely. Let's say somebody's option is history. Okay, and history, they're saying something new. Okay, something new they're saying, which you feel, oh, it seems very significant, and you have not heard of it, then most likely it will be false, because your optional history, you have studied in a lot of detail, and still you have not heard of it, and it also looks very significant that they should have mentioned it in history books, but it's not there. It means that particular statement will be false. It's a little tricky to understand. If you feel confused, go like a little back and hear it again. Okay, so but this is category of questions where if you have studied one particular topic, one particular subject very thoroughly, and despite that, if you feel this particular word, this particular statement looks unfamiliar, the most likely the statement will be wrong. In this case, if you see the answer, yeah, the name stands for Birsa Munda revolt. Okay, not the 1857 revolt. Okay, so this is this fourth category, reverse logic. Then there is fifth category, regional names. Okay, this is category where you see that some particular names, like when you read the names, in India we have a lot of diversity. So when you read the name, usually you are able to identify if it's from south, it is if it's from north, if it's from Bengal, if it's from Maharashtra, if it's from north. Okay, like that. It just not relates to personalities, but other like places name also. If it's some Alamatti or something like that, it could be from South India. Okay, if it's like Rana Pratap Sagar, something like that, it could be from North India. Let's discuss one example. This is question from history. Okay, 4J social reformers. So this first question, 2020, that asked. The question is the Vital Vidvamshak, the first monthly magazine to have untouchable people as its target audience, was published by whom? Okay. Now, if you see the name itself is Maharashtrian name. Okay, the name of that magazine. Okay, it's not the word vital. It's Vital. Okay, the letter L, like R, it's not there in other languages. It's there in Marathi. I don't know about like all other languages, but anyway, the name is Maharashtrian. Okay, now if the magazine's name is Maharashtrian, the most likely publisher will also be Maharashtrian. Okay, now if you see the names, see Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, most likely it's not true because he was Gujarati, everybody knows. Okay, uh, like so this statement will not attribute it to Gandhiji. Okay, Ambedkar, he was partly Maharashtrian, so it could be true. Okay, and so like at least we're able to eliminate Gandhi on the basis of regional name on that basis. Okay, so similarly, this kind of questions you'll also come across regarding name of dams, name of rivers, or name of some particular place, like that. So there also you can try to apply this logic that this particular thing cannot be North Indian, it cannot be South Indian, it has to be Bengali, like that. So there you apply similar logic and you can at least eliminate one or two options. Okay, so this was a category where you can apply your understanding of languages. Okay, the names and language, etc. Okay, apart from like this first five category, there will be some questions which you can answer just on the basis of simple logic or common sense, as we say. Okay, there are many examples in this category. I'll not discuss all of it, but some will discuss. Okay, especially from last 1 2 years. For example, if you go to this thing, environment, if you go to, okay, if we go to environment and if we access 2022 question, okay, this question, certain species of which one of the following organisms are well known as cultivators of fungi? Now, on the basis of some common understanding, you can eliminate at least one or two options. Okay, now if I were to give the exam, I will eliminate at least crab, I will eliminate. Okay, and spider also I'll eliminate. Other two I'll say I don't know. Okay, because crab, the way we have seen, he lives underwater. Okay, and like fungi cultivation, you need a different environment. Okay, you cannot cultivate it underwater, right? You need a kind of moist and that kind of environment. So most likely I'll remove that. Spider, this is spider, the most important characteristics of spider is its web, right? If it has a web, it doesn't make sense that it will cultivate fungi, right? Because it'll catch its prey through that web, okay, through that mechanism. Then ant and cockroach seems more likely, and if you see the actual answer, it's ant. Okay, so some areas you'll be able to eliminate options just on the basis of logic. We'll discuss two more examples. One is from geography, I guess, 2021. 2021. This is from polity. Okay, 5B 2021, question number 3. Okay, this one. With reference to India, consider the following statements. Okay, now if you read third statement, a foreigner once granted the citizenship cannot be deprived of it under any circumstance. Okay, now on the basis of logic, common sense, you can say that this cannot be true, right? If somebody foreigner, you're granting him the citizenship under any circumstances, it looks too extreme. Okay, so on that basis, we can say that this statement cannot be true. And if you see the answer, yeah, this say third statement is not true. Okay, so this also comes under the category of extreme statement. This one also. So there will be cases where there will be overlap also. It will be extreme statement. Plus, you can eliminate just on the basis of common sense. So if that is also the case, you can do that. Okay, we'll discuss one more example, then we'll move on. Okay. Again, from polity, we'll discuss this one. For example, which one of the following factors constitute the best safeguard of liberty in a liberal democracy? Okay, now that's it. Okay. Now, if you read the second option, centralization of power, it doesn't make sense, right? How the centralization of power will be the best safeguard of liberty, right? Because centralization of power means a single person or single entity, a single organization assumes all the powers. So that will lead to basically tyranny, okay? Uh, the oppression of the people. It will lead to suppression of their liberties. It cannot be safeguard of liberty. So on that basis, on simple logic or common sense, will eliminate at least the option B, okay, centralization of power. Now this, okay, so these examples we discussed for this category. Now, some of you may also feel that this was very simple, that you could have done it. I need not show this to you, but that's what it is. Okay, simple logic means these are the areas where you will also understand. Yes, I could have eliminated that. Okay. Now let's go to seventh question. This is the category where your knowledge of some other area will help you solve the question. For example, if the question is from economy, your knowledge of geography will help you to solve the question. Okay. You may think after reading the question, oh, I should have read this topic, I should have read economy more nicely. But your knowledge of geography will come to your help and it will help you. Okay. These kind of questions are also too many. Okay, I'll show you three examples we'll discuss. Two from 2023. Okay, let's say 7L. 7L means geography, and L means Indian geography, not this one. World geography, natural resources. Okay. Question number 3, 2023. This one. Okay. Now, if you read the second statement, okay, Switzerland has the second largest gold reserves in the world. Now, this, if you know little knowledge about world map, if you've seen world map, Switzerland is a very small country. Okay, its area will be like 2-3 districts of India. Okay, like that. Now, if any country has area like that, it's not possible that it will have second highest gold reserves in the world. There are many larger countries. Okay, there is China, there is USA, there is Brazil. All of you must be aware that in Brazil a lot of gold veins are there. Okay. So Brazil also you get a lot of gold. It's not possible that Switzerland has second highest gold reserves. Okay. Now you may think that probably I should have done all the gold reserves rankings, which country has highest gold reserves, second which country has second highest gold reserves, like that. But that's not what they're asking. Okay. Even simple knowledge of geography will also help you to answer this question. Okay, and if you see their explanation, yeah, the statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is not correct. Okay. We'll discuss one more question again from geography. Last year's question only. With this first one only. India has more arable area than China. The proportion of irrigated area is more in India as compared to China. And the third one is average productivity per hectare in Indian agriculture is higher than that in China. Now, if you see the third statement, that's saying that productivity of Indian agriculture is more than that of China. Now, if you have little bit knowledge about economies of India and China, we know that China, it's a much bigger economy. Okay, and India, our agriculture is like lacking behind much. Although we have a lot of irrigated arable area, but still a lot of Indian agriculture is still done in a traditional manner. Okay, so the third statement, it most likely it will not be true. Okay, average productivity per hectare in Indian agriculture, it cannot be higher than that in China or any advanced country. Okay, relatively advanced, I'll say, like that. So third statement will be false, like that. So on your basis, on the basis of your knowledge in economy, then you could eliminate the third, or agriculture, I'll say, you could eliminate the third statement. Okay, we'll discuss one more example, then we'll move on. Okay, this is from sixth topic, so that will be Indian economy. Okay, H 2020, question number 1. Okay. Now they're saying the value of Indo-Sri Lanka trade has consistently increased in the last decade. Again, this is very extreme statement. Consistently, if you observe nowhere it happens. For 10 years consistently, the trade goes on increasing. It's highly unlikely. Okay. The first statement you can discard in that fashion. And the third statement, again, in the last 5 years, Nepal has been the largest trading partner of India in South Asia. Now, if you have little knowledge about Nepal's population, Nepal geography, you can again say that it's not possible. There are bigger countries, like especially like Bangladesh is there and Sri Lanka is there, like that. Sri Lanka have other options. Nepal's obviously only option of India, but Bangladesh is much bigger country. They have much higher economy, much higher population. So Nepal cannot be the largest trading partner for India in South Asia. Okay, so at least third statement we're able to eliminate, and first also we eliminated. So, and the answer is statement 2 only, like that. Okay, so this was also the case where your knowledge of geography little bit, I'll say, help you answer the economic question, like that. So this was category of question where your knowledge of some other areas helps you understand the question or answer the question in some other area. Okay. Now, Hindi translation. Okay. So this will be applicable only for the people who understand Hindi. Okay. So there will be some questions where you may not understand the question itself in English. They'll use some technical word. They'll use some subject specific word, something like that. Like last year 2023, I remember there was a question that had given some name of some scientific name of some tree, some plant, and that said that you can eat the seeds of those plant, like that. So in English it was very difficult to understand if it's true or false because they had given the scientific name. But if you read its Hindi translation, okay, it said kale til. Okay, it's like black sesame seeds. Now everybody knows you can eat black sesame seeds. Okay, like that. Many people have it at their home, like that. So this statement, just you could answer just because you could understand Hindi, or like you happen to read it. Some people don't even read it. They'll just like pause there. They'll think that, oh, I didn't know this, like that. So that you don't have to do. If you're not able to answer, see the Hindi translation. Try to think like that. Okay, so that will also help you. This is category. Another thing, now this two categories, I don't have exactly examples for that, but this is again very important. Okay. Now ninth category, it will apply to all kind of questions. It says mindset of examiner. Okay. Because see, ultimately UPSC, it's a public body. Okay. They have to justify everything they do. It's not that they'll just cancel the exam, or they'll say that according to us the answer explanation to this question answer is this only, even if the reality is otherwise. They cannot say like that. It's a public body, it's answerable to public. So what ends up happening is they'll try to avoid questions where the conflicts will arise. Okay, because for example, if they say some mushrooms have psychoactive properties, okay, this was the statement we discussed, and let's say according to them this statement is false. Some mushrooms have psychoactive properties. Let's say according to them this statement is false. Now if somebody comes up with one kind of mushroom, okay, some one research paper somewhere which suggests that this particular mushroom found in Amazon or somewhere else has, let's say, 0.1% or 0.001% psychoactive property, then again UPSC will have to take the statement back, like that. And everybody knows UPSC don't want that. They don't want to get into litigation and all. So this is the mindset of UPSC. So with this mindset, if you try to see, extreme statement will most likely will always be true, and false, I'm sorry. The extreme statement in most of the cases they will be false. Generic statements in most of the cases they will be true. And this mindset of examiner, if you try to understand from UPSC perspective, it will also help you in so many other areas also. Because at the end you have to see whether they will be able to justify it. If it goes to court, if it goes to somewhere where people file a case that this particular thing according to UPSC is this, but this is not correct, anything like that, if that happens, will they be able to justify it, like that? So if you feel they can justify it, then go ahead, say that it's a true statement. If you feel, oh, they cannot justify it in any case, then yeah, it cannot be true, it will be a false statement. See from that perspective also, that will also help. And the last category is perspective of government. So this is category of question where basically if it's a policy decision, or if it's like they'll say recently government launched this scheme for this particular people or for this category, etc., then you can also think from government perspective. What has been the target of government? What has been orientation of government? Will they do something like that? Will they take a decision like that? Okay, I'll give one example to establish this. Okay, this is this is from history actually. No, polity. Okay, so this is last year's question only. This one, okay. This is question about 15th Finance Commission. Which criteria they have used? Now, if you see this criteria, one, two, three, four, five different criterias. The fourth criteria is stable government. Okay. Now, do you think that stable government will be a criteria? Because I personally think it's not possible. Because first thing is you cannot judge it. Stable government. There can be many inside outside factors, right? For example, in Maharashtra, all like there was no stable government for last 5 years. The reason was the ruling party itself. Okay, they did so many things here and there. So parties kept switching and all. So stable government cannot be a criteria, like that. And if you see the actual answer, okay, only three. Okay, we don't have explanation, but if you see online, if you see the details, yes, stable government is not the criteria which they have given. in the 15th Finance Commission. So over here you're applying the logic that whether government will take a decision like that, whether they'll do something like that. Okay. So from that perspective also it will help you understand if that particular statement is true or false, like that. Okay, so these are 10 categories. Now I'll discuss some exceptions. Okay, I don't have examples. I couldn't find many. I couldn't find any actually for exceptions, but there can be some. Okay, at least theoretically speaking. Uh, Now, how the exceptions will come? For example, sometimes the law itself will be unreasonable. Okay, the law itself doesn't make sense. It happens. Okay, there are laws like that. If you know any, you can post it in comments. There are some unreasonable laws which don't make sense. And if they ask a question like that on that particular law, now because the law itself doesn't make sense, will say that whatever like the statement they have given will say it's wrong because it doesn't make sense like that. But uh, because the law is there, your statement will be wrong like that. So these exceptions are there. Mm, or sometimes some government takes some unusual decision which also doesn't make sense under certain circumstances, then that there also there are chances will go wrong. Okay, for example, but this kind of cases will be very rare, and net you'll be positive. Okay, like that. So this, I'll suggest that you try this. Now is the time. You'll do a lot of mock tests. So it's not that just accept it like that. Experiment this. Keep this in your mind when you solve the mock test. Try to see if it works for you, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, in which subject it works for you, in which subject it doesn't work for you, in which subject your logic helps you, in which subject it doesn't help, like that. You may come across more category, try to add to the list like that, and then this will help you in exam at least get like 5 10 more marks. Okay, at least you will be able to limit one or two statements in some questions, and then if you attempt that, most likely your chances of getting it also correct, it also increases like that. So that was all from my side. If you have anything to add to this or any question regarding this, you're very welcome to post it in comments. I'll be very glad to answer it individually, like that. And a humble request, please share, subscribe to our channel. Okay, share this video with your friends also, and do like this because it takes a lot of efforts. I had to do a lot of research for this, find out examples and all. So please do that, and do subscribe because we will be putting more videos in this category again and again before exam, mostly regarding strategy, and that will help you get more marks in the exam. Okay, thank you for staying so long with us.